not only did these people restore the gate, but they also repaired the section of this wall. And what you will find out later on when we read the entirety of the chapter is that these people also left their section of the wall to go help others build theirs, because their section of the wall was not as damaged as the rest of the wall. And so this is a picture, when we think of the Valley Gate, it's a picture of humility. It's a picture of humility that, for us, when a person yields themselves to Christ, that they are flooded by the love of Jesus. And that when the love of Jesus, they have this love for God, that they want to serve others because God in his humility came to serve us. And so what's amazing is that when we go to serve others, we have this fullness of God that pleases him to go serve others. Now, 500 yards away from this Valley Gate was the Refuse Gate, or maybe in your translation it is called the Dung Gate. In verses 14 it says, Malachi is the son of Rechab, the leader of the district of Beth Hesserim, repaired the Refuse Gate. He built it and hung its doors with its bolts and bars. All right, so you come to this refuse or this dung gate, and it was the furthest away. It was completely north. Actually, it was south of the temple. I'm sorry. It was completely away from the temple. And the whole purpose of this gate was to get rid of, dispose of your trash. But not only your trash, but think about the things that go on in your bathroom. Everything was disposed out of this gate. Now, it did not have a pretty name. It's called the Refuse Gate or the Dung Gate. It didn't have a pretty name. But it had an important duty and an important function. And disposing of the waste was the essential health of the city. So the picture of this gate for us is this, just like the city of how they had to dispose things for the health of the city. When Paul talks about in 2 Corinthians 7:1, we must get rid of whatever that defiles and destroys us in our life. We have to get rid of it. And so I want to bring up my second guest, and told myself I wouldn't cry. This man has been a joy to serve with. This man is not all about disposing. He's all about saving life and about the sanctity of the life and bringing the life into this world and showing that this child has a purpose and a plan in his life, and to bring families together and how to raise this child up. The Wednesday Night Life Group has been serving alongside of Women's Children's Pregnancy Resource Center for about a little bit over a year now. And I would like to introduce Phil of the Women's Choice Pregnancy Resource Center. Phil, why don't you come on up? And he is the CEO, and he's going to tell you about what breaks his heart, what role he plays in this ministry, and the possibility of how we could serve along with Women's Choice.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm going to start out this evening with an apology. I have to speak from notes. I'll do that for your benefit, because if I don't have notes, what I'm going to speak on is my passion. And you would be here probably till 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I will be using my notes, and it's not really because I'm 70 years old, but I've never been able to do anything like that. Even when I was in high school, I couldn't give a book report and could never speak before people very well. But so anyway, I want to make an apology. I'm standing in awe of those that will be up here and can speak their whole presentation without notes. But I want to say I'm honored to share this service with other ministries represented, and I thank Mount Calvary for the invitation to speak, along with your commitment to God's work at our pregnancy center. Briefly, I want to say that our relationship began when I visited Pastor Wagner on October 7th, 2013 at 2 p.m. as he graciously allowed me to share the mission of our ministry. Subsequently, I came to know Pastor Adam and Sarah, along with a special small group of friends who are in the congregation tonight. Thank you. Who visit our center once a month, and they always come with a smile on their faces, and they're always willing to tackle whatever work I have in store for them. And Sarah's added some much-needed youth and expertise as she's joined our board of directors. So needless to say, we're blessed to be able to partner with you. For those, I want to introduce our Executive Director, Joelle Lucas, who's here with me tonight. She'll be in the back, and she's been with us since April. And so for those of you who don't know me, I am Phil Chatting, and I don't know that I'm CEO. I prefer to be called a volunteer, and I just serve on the Board of Directors for Woman's Choice Pregnancy Center. And we're located at 504 Washington Street West on Charleston's west side. Nearly 4 years ago, God strategically placed us 80 feet from the Women's Health Center, which was once the largest and now the only abortion clinic in Charleston in the state of West Virginia. Less than 2 weeks ago, praise God, on January 17th, the only other clinic located in Canal City closed its doors. A couple of years prior to our building going up for sale, my wife claimed tracts, a gay nightclub for the Lord, as our destination, only a parking lot away from the abortion clinic. In time this evening will not present me to describe all the details of how God's hand was with us every step of the way as we miraculously purchased and renovated the building with volunteers over a period of 2 years, beginning the entire process with only $30,000 in savings. This year, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary of God's faithfulness. The road has not been easy, as many times at our previous location we owed several thousands of dollars in back rent, but our Christian landlord refused to eject us. During this time, receiving only small gifts and donations, we remained obedient to the mission God has set before us. The mission is best described from our mottos seen on most of our literature, helping women to make a choice for life. From our conception in 1977 until our move to the new location in 2013, God used the most meager of circumstances, income, faithful volunteers, to save an estimated over 500 lives. At our new location, at least 51 women who were abortion-minded chose life instead for their precious child. Many others walk in or call in by what they believe is by accident, and they receive counseling and literature. Many stories of these we now call our girls have taught us that we can never underestimate how God is working in lives, no matter how hopeless it may seem. At this time, I'd like to take you to the center, and I'd like to share a couple stories that may help you better understand what happens here. An attractive young girl, about 15 years old, walked in with her male friend. She approached our reception desk and told my wife that she was there for her procedure. With misty eyes and a garbled voice, as if she had taken some type of medication, she placed a small brown teddy bear on the desk in front of her. Suspecting that she had mistakenly come into our center instead of the abortion clinic next door, my wife informed her up front that we were not a medical facility and we did not provide any type of procedures. The girl replied that she thought she had scheduled an abortion here. My wife began to talk to her about her apparent choice, her unborn baby, and the effects abortion would have on her life. And she began to cry, and we began to cry. Eventually, she turned her back to us, but she continued to listen. All at once, she let out a wail, and she bolted for the door with her friend in hot pursuit. After praying for her, we knew we'd probably never know if she went through with the abortion or not. But we do know that the picture of her tears falling on that little teddy bear would be forever etched in our hearts. And several years ago, a college student from the northern part of the state came into our facility to get a pregnancy test. Her test was positive, and she began to tell us why she could just not have this child. Her parents had invested thousands of dollars into her education. The counselor spent several minutes with her, but the young girl eventually asked for proof of pregnancy so she could obtain a medical card to get a taxpayer-funded abortion. Because we did not want the responsibility for her decision and the risk she was taking, we refused to give her the proof she needed. At that point, she argued. She became irate, cursing the counselor and slamming the 2 doors that led her to the street below. At the end of the year, because of her actions, we recorded in our statistics that she had an abortion. A couple of months into the new year, we received a long-distance phone call. The young voice on the other end of the line simply said, "I listened to you. I just had my baby and ready to place him up for adoption." 2 of our volunteers immediately drove to the hospital where they found another adoption agency. I shouldn't say another, we're not an adoption agency. They found an adoption agency eagerly waiting to take custody of the child. The young girl responded to the hospital staff saying that she wanted us to find a home for her child because we've been so instrumental in saving her baby's life. You see, this young girl could have gotten her proof of pregnancy elsewhere, but God had other plans for her. And I believe your heart would have overflowed with joy the day a young girl walked into our facility carrying her newborn child. With tears flowing down her cheeks, she said, "I want to thank you for saving my baby." Of course, our response to her was that only God was to receive the glory for her change of heart. You've just heard what our new executive director has so accurately described as a ministry where we experience the lowest of lows and the highest of highs. This morning, you may not be able to internalize these emotional stories to the point where they break your heart. And I love to be able to present them with such a reality that, like Nehemiah, your heart would be so broken that you would do as he did. You would sit down and weep and mourn and fast and pray before the God of heaven. You might then ask what God would have you do, not only in service in this ministry, but to other ministries who are equally needy of your gifts and talents. You know, Satan would like nothing more than to rationalize why your service isn't important. He will say things like, "You're just one person, you can't make a difference. You don't have the gifts or talents, or you're just too busy to serve." I know how he works. Even though I was a Christian, I listened to his persuasive arguments far too long. As you've heard these personal stories, such as the ones I've shared, he will attempt to harden your heart to the cause of those who are desperately needing your help. In other words, Satan, if successful, will ultimately rob you of the joy that God has prepared for you. Your life may end as a life all about you and not all about him. At our center, our desire is to be the hands and feet of Jesus to minister to those described in Proverbs 24, verses 11 and 12. Verse 11 says that we are to rescue those being led away to death, hold back those staggering towards slaughter. Verse 12 says, "If you say, but we knew nothing about this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he not repay to each person according to what he has done?" So how does a pregnancy center whose foundation is based on the Word of God respond to this verse? Well, if we are to rescue the unborn child, the decision to choose life must come from that mother. What are the ways that we try to effectively reach out to that mother? First thing, we must show God's love and compassion, realizing this woman lives in a society that has victimized her. It promotes casual sex, birth control over abstinence, the outward appearance of the body instead of the inward condition of the heart, alcohol and drug usage, the breakdown of the family unit, living together before marriage. That's just to name a few. Many times this young girl is pressured by individuals such as the father of the child, her own family and friends to have an abortion. While some are influencing her for selfish reasons, others wrongly believe in their hearts that this is her best choice. So having to deal with all these societal ills, what can we realistically expect of these mothers? Second, we must recognize that the only way to rescue this mother and her baby is to provide the support she most desperately needs. Most women cite the main reason they chose abortion was they could not find one person who would support their decision to keep the child. So once we determine what is going on in a woman's life that caused her to choose abortion, we focus on her personal needs. We provide spiritual, emotional, and material support with free services such as lab quality pregnancy tests, peer option and post-abortion counseling, gospel tracts, Bibles, baby diapers, maternity clothing and baby clothing, newborn to size 3T, and we also provide parenting classes so that she can learn larger items such as baby beds and strollers. Unfortunately, the vast majority of Christians have not responded to rescue this mother and her unborn child, as over 58 million babies have been murdered over the past 44 years. And that's one child every 25 seconds. These Christians may have listened to the views of our present culture that tells all of us just to stay out of this mother's life. She's perfectly capable of making a decision for herself and for her baby. Unfortunately, the culture wasn't listening when the mother told us that she had cried every day for 20 years following her abortion, and many others have explained how their abortion has all but destroyed their lives. So how can the church be part of this rescue? They can partner, as you have, with their local pregnancy center. And in partnering, you need to understand the specific needs of that center. In the future, we believe God is leading us to offer free ultrasounds and eventually STD and STI testing. Offering these services will give us greater access to more clients to further reduce or stop abortion in our community. Statistics show that over 80% of the women who see their baby in an ultrasound would choose life for that child. And I understand this morning that you don't really need us. The church originated over 2,000 years before the first pregnancy resource center ever existed in this country. You can and you will exist without us. However, we will not exist without you. While we can share many resources we have to offer the church, we will not exist without the prayers, volunteers, and financial support of the local church. So what does this support look like in the form of service? First and foremost, your prayers are needed, especially for those all in leadership at our center. We need volunteers. Most of our volunteers are between the ages of 56 and 70. So we need younger volunteers that we can train and will be ready to step in. Finances. You can host special fundraising events such as our Baby Bottle Boomerang program. You can hold rummage sales or concerts. If you have a nurse manager who's an RN who can also be trained to do ultrasounds, we can use her. You can spread the word about the center to friends in Christian businesses and other like-minded churches to enable us to reach other Christian partners. You can remain alert to those in your world, such as family and friends, who might be considering abortion as their choice, recommending that they visit our center. You can refer others to us who have a real need of material goods for their children. They can visit our kids' closet every 3 months. You can donate new and used baby items, especially size 5 and 6 diapers, items like baby wash and formula. You can hold a baby shower. You can provide professional services, especially in the areas of accounting, law, marketing, or medical. And you can take ownership of our kids' closet from this old man. You want a challenge? You would have one. This job is not for the faint of heart, believe me. In summary and closing, I want to share a little of my personal story. When my grown children left home to go to college, my wife began to volunteer with the pregnancy center. Over a period of several years of counseling, she told me the anonymous stories of mothers who felt they had nowhere to turn. when faced with an unplanned and unwanted pregnancy. My heart began to break as I delivered baby beds to mothers in need. During the renovation of our facility, I often took breaks outside the building where I witnessed arguments in the parking lot of the abortion clinic. These arguments were waged over upcoming decisions. Following the abortion, these arguments sometimes turned to brokenness as I saw mothers collapse, sometimes uncontrollably in the arms of their companion. I understood that the mother and her child went through these doors, but the other mother was the only one that left, and she was wounded. After witnessing this, I knew God had touched me in such a way. Excuse me. I knew God had touched me in such a way that I would never be the same. And to this day, I still have a broken heart, but it now serves a purpose. It's turned into a mission. The Lord willing, I'll never give up until every life is saved. So where would I suggest you serve tonight? Well, as I'm sure Pastor Adams already covered, simply serve wherever God breaks your heart. Whatever need you see that breaks your heart. Because when you pick a service like that, there'll never be any doubt in your mind. There will be no regrets about the sacrifice He's called you to, but only the joy of serving. Thank you.